This video is about building OpenSSL on Windows with VS 2022, and I'm doing this for JavaCard 3.4. It has some specific requirements, and that's what I'm targeting with this build. Now, I'm not going to get into a lot of what Java cards are. You have used them. Some examples of them are payment cards, SIM cards, commuter cards, electronic passports, cryptocurrency wallets, and entry badges. Now, this video is just to show how to build a dependency for another video that I'm doing in which I actually do Java card development. On your computer, you'll want to have Visual Studio 2022, Perl, and Git. For Perl, I'm using Strawberry Perl, and you can find a link to what I use in the description. You want to know about the where command. I did run into a problem the first time I tried to do this where some other installation of Perl was being invoked, and using the where command will let you know the path to what it will invoke, and I just had to adjust my path to correct for that. Now these are all the commands that you'll be typing in. If you feel confident, you can go to your command prompt now, pause this video, and type these in. And if all goes well, at the end of this, you will have a working installation of OpenSSL. Now let's switch to my Windows machine. I want to put everything in a folder called dev. Let's zoom in here so that you can see this. I make my dev folder and we switch to this. Now we clone the code from a repository, which you can do with git space clone, and then the path is github.com/openssl/openssl.git, and it just takes a few moments to get cloned. Now that the file is cloned, we're going to go into the OpenSSL directory. This has the source code in it. I'm making sure the right edition of Perl is running, and that is the path to my installation, so that's correct. We want to make sure the environment variables are set for doing a Visual C compilation for 32-bit architecture. And yes, JavaCard, the SDK does call for 32-bit. There exists a batch file that gets installed along with Visual Studio, and if you run it, it will set those environment variables. In the path I'm typing here, I put the word community because I have the community edition of Visual Studio. If you have a different edition, you may need to change that. But once you get to the full path, the name of the batch file within that folder is vcvars32.bat. You run that, the environment variables are set, and now you're ready to do 32-bit compilation. Now let's do the configuration. So this is a command for configuring. Yes, you want to use a specific set of options. If you don't, you might end up with a working version of OpenSSL, but it might not work for JavaCard development. This command itself, it doesn't take terribly long to run in the grand scheme of everything else that runs. For me, I think it was like somewhere around 50 seconds, 40 or 50 seconds. Okay, and there's created some other files that are going to be used for the build. We are ready to start building, and to kick the build off, it's just a single command, nmake. Okay, just zoom out a bit, just so this wraps around. Now, this part of the process takes a while to run, go off and do something else, make some coffee, have lunch. In my case, I hopped on a plane, left town, and I went to a wedding in Ohio. And by the time I got back, it was done. Now, no, it doesn't take that long, but it does take a long time. So with that done, the next thing to do is to run the test with nmake space test. You don't have to do this, but I encourage you to do so. It should pass all the tests. If there's a test that it does not pass and something horribly wrong has happened, and you will want to look into what that is, because you might have an installation that won't work with JavaCard. While these tests were running, I did get the prompt from Windows where it said that it was blocking network capabilities. If you end up with a test that fails, then it might be a matter of clicking on that prompt and running again. After all the tests have run and passed, we are now ready to do the installation. Now we need an elevated command prompt. Yes, I could have done all the build from the elevated command prompt so everything would be in one area, but I don't like using elevated prompt unless I need it. Now that I'm in it, I'm going back to the folder that has the source code in it. I need to once again run that vc vars32 batch file so that the environment variables are set. But then the installation is just nmake space install. This will take a few minutes to run, but after it gets done running, then in your program files you will see an OpenSSL folder that has the build within it. And this is the build that you're going to want to use for JavaCard development.